Someone we know is working really hard to change the situation here in D.C., the United States Attorney for D.C., Jeanine Pirro. Judge, it's good to see you. I haven't had a chance to interview you once you were confirmed into this position. It's great to have you. I saw you today in the briefing room along with the president and also the Secretary of the Defense talking about this move that the president is putting forth. You know, the last time the National Guard was deployed here in our nation's capital, as you know, was 2021 after the deadly insurrection. Let me ask you, why take such extreme measures to fight crime now?
Well, I think that there is a crime emergency in D.C. And, you know, people say, well, you know, crime is down from last year. Well, so what? Last year, crime was too high. You know, we had the fourth largest, highest homicide rate in the nation. I mean, so let's stop, you know, namby-pambying this. What we've got in this great city, and the president has a constitutional obligation to make sure that this city is safe. And he is doing just that by today deploying the National Guard and making sure that there is enough armed forces, I should say enough forces with the DEA, the FBI, the ATF, the National Guard, to make sure that we send a message to young people and criminals throughout the district that we are watching you, that it's not going to be the same old, that we are taking crime seriously. Because you know, just like I know, if you live in this area, that there are too many young people committing crimes. They're emboldened to commit crimes because they know they're too young to be arrested. If you're 14, 15, 16, 17 years old and you shoot someone in the District of Columbia, I cannot prosecute you. And I'm not just talking about federal crimes. I'm talking about my job as a local DA. Unless you kill that person, I cannot handle the case at all. And young people know it. And that's why we had an intern who went out for ice cream who got shot in the chest last month, an intern in college. We had another individual who was beat down, and but for the grace of God, a cop car drove by, he would have been beaten more severely. He had a broken nose and a severe concussion. 12 and 13-year-old trying to break into the car with a woman in the car that he was trying to protect. And we've got young people in this city. I named them on a bulletin board that I'm happy to show you, who have been murdered with guns, where there isn't even a prosecution because the shooters haven't been found or they're too young. So it's about time we recognize that this is something that is sorely needed. And the decision by the president to restore law and order is one that I would think that most law-abiding citizens in D.C. would be very happy about.
All right, you just pointed out that much of the crime here that's happening in our nation's capital is committed by, and this is the term you've used, young thugs. You've said that a lot. So
I
tell
said
me,
young punks. Yeah.
Young punks. Okay.
Yeah.
So what will happen with these minors now?
Okay, what we're going to do is we are now going to move to get the D.C. Council to change their Youth Rehabilitation Act, the Incarceration Reduction Act, and their Record Sealing Act. The D.C. Council has done nothing but draft legislation and pass laws that literally erase the ability of judges to sentence individuals appropriately. So if a 19-year-old gets on a public bus, imagine yourself on this bus. It's a public bus. There's a family on the bus. He comes on the bus with an illegal gun, shoots someone in the chest. What does that tell you? In the chest, that is an intent to kill. The kid doesn't die who's shot. The judge sentences this 19-year-old with an illegal gun to what? To probation for a couple years, says go to college. No, this is unacceptable. And what we've got to do now is we've got to lower the age. We've got to lower the age to 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. Because if these kids, even if they are arrested and they go to family court, what is the focus? The focus is rehabilitation. What is rehabilitation? You can go to yoga. You can go to an ice cream social. No, let's stop playing games. People's lives are impacted. People who work in the district are afraid to go out at night. Congress people's family members are not interested in coming here. The people who live here and don't have their own protection deserve to be protected. And that's what the president's going to do, and that's what I'm going to do. So it starts today, but there's a lot more that we've got to do going forward. And this cashless bail nonsense is for the birds. We've got to change that as well. The idea that someone can keep getting cashless bail and keep being removed and allowed into the community again emboldens the criminals to believe that they cannot be stopped.
All right, Judge, you're talking about the minors, but again, I'm going to use a personal experience. I was jumped just 2 blocks here from the ABC Bureau. It was not a minor, though. No, hey, look, it's happened to a lot of people in our building, sadly. He was homeless. And half-dressed, clearly wasn't in his clear mind. It was scary as hell, I'm not going to lie, but I fought back. I didn't see any weapons in his hands. I felt like it was my only choice. The president did mention that this effort is also going to help clean up homelessness. As we know, many members of the homeless community, sadly, take it upon themselves, like what happened to me, to carry out violence. Not all of them are like that, but sadly, there are those that do, especially when you bring mental illness into the situation. Tell me what's going to happen with them. Will they be arrested? What will they be arrested for? And then where do they go? Because you know as well as I do, just outside those gates of the White House, just outside of the ABC Bureau here, we have homeless communities and tents all along the streets and right off the side of the highway. What do you do with those folks, Judge?
Well, you know, first of all, let me say I'm very sorry for your situation. And I am even sorrier that every time I talk to someone who's from the area, they either know someone or have been victimized themselves. The second part of my answer really has to do with what we can and cannot do as it relates to the homeless, the mentally ill. Now, if there is no crime committed, then, you know, I am not prosecuting anyone. The president has his own agenda or determination as to how he's going to handle the homeless. He's apparently going to be moving these areas, especially if they're in national parks and locations that they're not entitled to be in, to areas where they can go. And make no mistake, a lot of mental illness is what is at the core of some of the violence that we're seeing. So it's got to be a 3-prong approach. You've got crime, you've got mental illness, and then you've got homelessness. You can't answer this all with one agency or one person. And I believe that the president is knowledgeable enough to know that each area has to be addressed in a different way, and that's just what he's going to do.
Gotcha. All right. We can't ignore that one of the biggest acts of violence here in D.C. was January 6th. As you know, hundreds of people were attacked. Police, or President Trump, rather, pardoned a number of them, including someone who yelled, "Kill him," at the cops. That person now serving in a senior role at the DOJ. How is that law in order?
Well, what I can tell you is that since I have been the United States Attorney, I have brought 300 cases of assaults on police officers. I take these cases very seriously. I know what's in my office and I know what I'm dealing with. I don't speak to anything that occurred before I got there. I have enough cases to deal with right now, and the police know that I have their back, given the fact that I am there to make sure that there is accountability whenever a police officer is spit on or shot or stabbed or assaulted, and that includes corrections officers, Capitol Police. I've got my own record that I'm proud of, and that's the record I'm going to speak about.
Gotcha. Section 740 of the D.C. Home Rule Act, which is what we're talking about, gives the president the authority over the Metro PD for up to a month. After that, it has to be approved by Congress. Can you fix this crime problem in a month, or do you think the president is going to need more time?
Look, I don't think that there's a magic answer to any of these horrible problems that have taken years to develop. I mean, young people who are committing crimes and older people who are committing crimes didn't just decide in 30 days, hey, I can get away with it. They've lived a life where they realize that they're never going to be punished. I think the president has started an excellent, in a way that sends a real clear message. I think at the end of 30 days, he'll make the right decision as to what he's going to do at that point going forward. But it will take a while for us to at least address the things like cashless bail and getting juveniles to be accountable, and not to get them to the point where they can go to an ice cream social if they shot somebody but the person didn't die. Enough of the nonsense. Time to make young people understand that they cannot violate innocent Americans and anyone else's lives because they've been allowed to get away with it. No more. It's over.
Judge Jeanine Pirro, also now the United States Attorney for D.C. Judge, sure appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.